The position is for a secretary.
Then the agency shouldn't have given you my name. My typing and shorthand isn't good enough.
Assistant, then, with some minor secretarial duties. I sent her all the details. She chose you.
Really?
You're a teacher?
A games mistress, yes.
Teachers are good at organising. Mrs. Owen is expecting a lot of guests.
Whereabouts in the country?
The Devon coast. Soldier Island.
The coast.
Audrey's been telling me about it from her magazines. Haven't you, Audrey? Some Hollywood film star was supposed to have bought it, but no. It's Mr. and Mrs. Owen.
And you've met them?
No, everything by letter.
An island. By the sea?
Islands are generally by the sea. The box, if you please, Audrey.
I don't... Maybe I'm not suited.
You are who she wants. And it's very well paid. There's a permanent position on offer, if you fit the bill.
Yes, but...
For immediate expenses.
And this is for a play in the West End. And will I be credited in the programme? Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please. You are charged with the following indictments.
Oh, well, here are the others.
I'm Miss Claythorne, Mrs. Owen's secretary. Are you Mr. Narracott?
Well, ain't no one else holding the son. We're already taking two over. Fussy old maid and some flashy young lad. Been in and out this harbour like a fiddler's elbow.
Sea dogs have their own etiquette. Well, good afternoon. General MacArthur.
Good Lord. What an honour to meet you. Wargrave.
Justice, Wargrave. The honour's all mine, sir.
Retired from justice now.
Mr.
Lombard. Philip.
And you, sir?
Davis. Are you coming or not?
Well, shall we?
Welcome to Soldier Island.
Right. Come along.
So is there a problem? Well, that's as far as my field take me, sir. God's sake.
Davis? Davis?
I'd be grateful.
Of course. Well, Rogers, our hosts. When can we expect to meet them?
We should be a full house by tonight, sir.
Ah, afternoon. Tony Marston. Well, I look forward to meeting you all at dinner. A stiff G&T in my room.
Sir,
Did Mrs. Owen leave any instructions for me? I'm the secretary.
only to ensure that you were comfortable and had everything you wished for, Miss Claythorne. Now, if the gentlemen would follow me, Mrs. Rogers will escort the lady.
Oh, thank you, David. Did my friend Mrs. Colmington, Mrs. Constance Colmington, did she change her plans, do you know?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Ridiculously vague.
Oh, I'm sorry, I only just recently got the job.
No, not you, Miss Claythorne. I mean this whole arrangement. The Owens invited me here to meet my friend, and she's not even here. Very strange. Very strange indeed.
Can I help you? Here.
Oh, too kind.
Look at the state of you.
I've got to baste my beef. And my souffles, Thomas. What about my souffle?
Well, I can't dress her, can I? Go on.
Was it a childhood affliction? Your eyes? No, madam. Came on all suddenly.
A shock, maybe. Sudden change.
Begging your pardon, madam, I don't know.
You must know.
Begging your pardon, madam, I don't.
I always think it's rather weakness to be so affected by something in one's circumstances. Rather indulgent. Almost vain. We must be strong, Mrs. Rogers, especially in these times. We must be valiant and virtuous. We must be English women.
Yes, madam.
And a little advice. In future, a splash of eau de cologne before you come upstairs to attend on the ladies. I appreciate it's hot work in the kitchen, but there's no need to announce it quite so emphatically.
Beg your pardon, madam.
Tinned goods. Troops. The war. Tinned goods. Judge Wargrave, I'm terribly sorry for the clumsy introduction. I'm a terrible traveller. Completely lose my bearings.
Are we on time?
just. Sir. You're ready sooner than we'd anticipated.
What's up there?
Just roof space, sir. Sir, I've been advised that the footing isn't particularly sturdy up there. Best avoided, lest you make an unexpected entrance into one of the bedrooms, sir. By way of the ceiling. May I show you to the drawing room, sir? Perhaps an aperitif whilst you await the other guests.
Ah, Mr. Davis. You look like a man who could use a drink.
Oh, very congenial. Perhaps a small snifter?
Mr. Rogers, lead the way.
Miss? Is there something you're looking for, miss? Because this is the below stairs, miss. For staff.
Well, I am staff.
Miss, we had very strict instructions that you were to be treated as a guest. Guests don't come below stairs.
It rather sounds as though you're asking me to leave. How many more are you expecting with the Owens?
We shall know when they arrive.
And how will you cope? Just the two of you?
Rogers and myself is competent. More than. So, if you please.
Well done, girl.
What an idyllic evening. The sky. How can one not believe in a creator?
Davis.
Emily Brent.
Edward Armstrong.
There's one in my room, too. I imagine there's one in every room.
Well, Soldier Island, it makes sense. It's amusing.
I have a strong suspicion our hosts are inclined to whimsy.
I cannot comment on our hosts.
Good little secretary.
Excuse me.
We've got off on the wrong foot, haven't we? But you do have very pretty legs. It would have been remiss not to admire them.
Mr. Lombard, you seem to be under the impression that I am a particular kind of woman. And I assure you that I am not. I do not like to be looked at.
I get instincts about people. I have an instinct about you. I think you're pretending.
A drink, Mr. Marston?
Pink gin. Pink as a virgin's blush. Didn't catch your name.
Philip Lombard.
Irish. You must know the Corcorans. Great chums of mine. Endlessly simpatico. Anyone who's anyone knows them. Are you a betting man, Lombard?
It depends.
At some point this evening, one of those crumbling old rogues will start talking about the war. And then they'll ask us both if we aren't damned sorry to have missed the last one and how we should be gung-ho to do our duty in the next. Not that there's going to be a next one.
There's always a next one.
So how about it? A bet?
The odds are too short.
Listen to them. Clinging on. I mean, they think they still mean something, but nobody at all would notice or care if they just... I'm going to be exceptionally charming to them.
Oh, all right, Miss Claythorne. If it will make you happy, I'm sorry for staring.
Mr. Lombard, I doubt you're ever sorry for anything.
Smart girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, lobster souffle.
Hope it isn't too rich. I always dine so modestly at home.
I won't, thank you.
Thank you. We met before, you know.
Oh, forgive me, my memory is not what it was. Perhaps you gave evidence before me.
No, it wasn't that. I'd remember that. Something else. It'll come to me.
I'm not at all sure about these. They look very pagan.
They're the 10 little soldiers. You know, from the poem.
I know it off by heart. When I was a little boy, my nanny used to recite it to me. I imagine she wanted to terrify me into being good.
Did it work?
Well, I've always been a stickler, yes. Stickler for the rules. I was probably a rather dull boy.
I really can't imagine that, Jen. Although, you shouldn't call it a poem, Miss Claythorne. It's doggerel. Poetry should be uplifting.
I agree with you, Miss Brent.
Well, that just shows how wrong first impressions are. I didn't think you were the type of gentleman to appreciate poetry.
Mr. Davis has hidden depths.
Souffle's delicious.
Very light.
Over 40 years in criminal law, I've come face to face with the most depraved examples of mankind and felt no fear. But I quail in terror, Miss Claythorne, at the thought of young ladies brandishing hockey sticks.
They're not so bad, Judge. A little overexcited and noisy sometimes.
Well, the prerogative of youth. And I'm sure you set them a very fine example.
Well, sometimes you dread what filth they're going to serve. But this is actually very decent.
The Owens are always generous hosts.
Friends of yours, Mr. Davis?
Business acquaintances. I'm in tinned goods. The firm started off supplying troops with stew. Tinned goods is what helped us win the war.
Well, I suppose an army marches on its stomach.
Here we go.
God, I remember that stew.
RAMC, I presume, Dr. Armstrong.
That's right. Clearing stations and then hospitals in Belgium and France.
Perhaps you're being interviewed as well.
Interviewed, General?
Yes. Mr. Owen is an amateur, but very knowledgeable military historian. He's writing about France, about the decisive action
it's
of France, 1917.
No, I'm just here to get away from it all.
Interesting man, Mr. Owen, and an interesting name. Ulick Norman.
How funny. Mrs. Owen is Una Nancy.
Matching initials.
Must confess I was a little worried about the Ulick. Given the current climate, it might be seen as somewhat Teutonic.
You couldn't hope to meet a more patriotic man.
And what could be more English than Norman? Oh, it's magical.
Mrs. Rogers has the gift.
Well, she might look like the undead, but she can definitely cook.
When might we expect the Owens? Have they not telephoned?
There's no telephone on the island, madam. Mr. Narracott brings messages along with the post and kitchen supplies every morning, and I imagine tomorrow he will either bring a telegram from the Owens or they will accompany him.
Rogers, give that Narcot chap a couple of bob asking to watch my car. It's parked up by the harbour. It's a Jensen.
Of course, sir. I shall pass on your compliments to Mrs. Rogers.
Look here, Davis. The Owens, are they fun-loving types?
Fun-loving?
Yeah, because there's something a tad off here. Now, I had a letter inviting me to a house party. Pretty young things. You know, champagne, music. And apart from Lombard, who looks like he could cut up a bit lively, the rest of you don't really look like fun-loving house party types. No offense.
Your car, the Jensen.
Well, you saw her. Isn't she a beauty? I honestly can't imagine loving a person as much as I worship and adore the Jensen.
You ran me off the road.
No, I didn't.
You ran me off the road.
When?
I was driving along, minding my own business, when you overtook me, going God knows how fast, and you ran me off the road.
Well, I saw someone going at pitiful speed.
Well, okay, Marston. I think an apology and a handshake between gentlemen would be just the thing here.
But I haven't done anything wrong.
You ran me off the road.
Well, I might have overtaken you, but my great aunt drives with more zip, and if you can't control your car, then you really shouldn't be behind the wheel.
You little shit! You ran me off the road, and then you have the temerity to tell me it's my fault?
Careful, old boy, getting a little red in the face there.
Gentlemen, please, there are ladies present.
I'm sorry. It's been a long week.
You're right, General. A handshake between gentlemen. Come on, Armstrong. Put it there. Let's be pals.
Nearly there.
Good work, Ed. Rogers, I'm out of cigarettes.
Yes, sir.
So what battles were you involved with, General?
Well, I served on the northwest frontier, in South Africa, and of course in France.
Win any?
I loathe this convention, leaving men to their cigars and their stories.
Convention, Miss Claythorne, is what keeps us together in the face of impending chaos.